I discovered the sinister rules of a cursed gas station in the Arizona desert. Secrets exposed. The sun was sinking fast, painting the Arizona desert in hues of crimson and gold. Lisa Harper gripped the steering wheel tight, her pulse racing with every passing mile. She had been driving for hours, the landscape an endless stretch of dusty nothingness. 10-year-old Tyler sat in the back, his chatter fading as the silence of the empty road seeped into the car. Just as despair crept in, she spotted it, a faded sign dangling precariously, proclaiming fuel and full service. Relief washed over her like a cool breeze. She pulled into the gas station, her heart a mix of relief and dread. The rusted structure looked like it hadn't seen a customer in years, its neon lights flickering ominously. A shiver ran down her spine as the wind howled outside, rattling the loose metal around the entrance. She exchanged nervous glances with Tyler, who stared wide-eyed at the ghostly display of ancient snacks and weary pumps. Inside, the atmosphere thickened with an unsettling charm. Earl, the attendant, stood behind the counter, his grin disarmingly wide. "Hey there," he drawled. His eyes were too deep, too knowing. As Lisa paid for gas, she felt pinned under his gaze. How did he know about her struggle, her fears? It was like she was an open book, one he'd read long before she arrived. "Mom, look at these old candies," Tyler shouted, breaking the tension. Yet something felt off. The walls were adorned with notices of missing persons, their faces distorted by age. The radio crackled at a chilling frequency, sending an icy shudder through Lisa's bones. "Let us hurry, Tyler," she urged, trying to shake off the growing dread. As they wandered toward the restroom, Tyler's laughter faded, leaving behind an eerie silence that sent goosebumps racing along Lisa's arms. She stepped out, the stale air thick with the scent of mildew and neglect, but Tyler was gone. Panic gripped her heart. "Tyler!" she called, her voice echoing through the cavernous gas station. Earl's smile twisted as he leaned closer, an unsettling glint in his eye. "You looking for your boy?" he asked, his tone almost sing-song. The fear in Lisa became a visceral tug in her gut. Outside, the wind rose, swirling dust into a chaotic dance, the gas station's flickering lights casting long shadows. Each second felt like an eternity as she searched, her breath quickening with despair. The whispers in the wind seemed to call her name, pulling her deeper into a void of anxiety. This isn't happening, she thought, forcing her mind to stay clear. The tales her mother used to tell about a cursed place, where good would turn to evil, echoed in her memory, stories she'd brushed off as nonsense. Until now, before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The chilling realization hit her: what you give, you can't take back. Her heart raced as she resolved to confront Earl. Fear fueled her desperation. "Tyler!" she screamed, stepping forward into the twilight of the station's interior. The shadows seemed to stretch and close in, whispering secrets of curses and sacrifices. When she called for him again, the silence deepened, suffocating. The gas station, once just a stop for fuel, had transformed into something far worse, a trap. Terror twisted in her chest as she faced the predatory glint in Earl's eyes, the sinister truth looming just beyond her grasp. What lay inside this cursed gas station? And more importantly, could she save her son from its grip before it consumed them both? Lisa's heart raced, banging against her ribcage like a trapped animal. Earl's grin widened, peeling back the curtain of his true intentions. A heaviness settled in the pit of her stomach. Was it madness or enlightenment? Could he really know what she had buried so deep in her soul? "Where's my son?" she hissed, each word laced with desperation. The shadows danced along the walls, shifting and twisting as if they were alive, echoing her fear. She could feel the suffocating weight of the missing persons posters staring at her, whispers from the past warning her, begging her to turn back. Earl leaned casually against the counter, the flickering light illuminating the angles of his face. "You've arrived at a place of choices, my dear," he said, nodding as if understanding some unfathomable truth. "Everything comes with a cost, you know." His voice was syrupy sweet yet laced with malice, wrapping around her like a noose. "Just tell me where Tyler is. This isn't funny." Panic clawed at her throat, but beneath it lingered a darker, deeper fear, a gnawing suspicion that the gas station held secrets far worse than just disappearing children. Earl's eyes sparkled, reflecting the chaotic light. "Perhaps he's where he needs to be. Or maybe he's been chosen." He shrugged, his indifference sending a chill through Lisa. Chosen? What did that even mean? The diesel pumps let out a low groan, as if the building itself was alive and aware, reacting to her dread. Lisa spun around, forcing her legs to move, searching every shadow, every corner. "Tyler!" She yelled again, but her voice quivered, faltering against the heavy silence that engulfed her. The tiny bathroom door creaked. She hesitated, heart pounding. Could he be hiding in there? Her fingers trembled against the doorknob, the cold metal digging into her palm. She pushed the door open with a faint hope, but the room revealed nothing but a flickering bulb overhead and a cracked mirror that reflected her panic-stricken face. "Tyler?" she whispered. The air smelled damp and sour, auguring back to nightmares of lost children. Nothing but stillness answered. A shrill laugh erupted from behind her. It was Earl, arms crossed, leaning back with a pleasure that sent shivers coursing down her spine. "You don't get it, do you? Every choice has its repercussions. Desire begets loss. It's all part of the game." He stepped forward, the distance closing unnaturally fast. "You care for your boy, yet what if your very presence here is the reason he's gone? What if this isn't about rescuing him at all?" The heat in the room turned cold, ice-cold dread wrapping around her heart like hands from beyond the grave. "Whatever twisted game you're playing," Lisa's voice burst forth, trembling in defiance, "I'll find him. You can't keep him." "Oh, but I can." Earl's smile sunk like a weight, and around them, shadows stretched and morphed, the lights flickered violently before plunging the room into darkness. Lisa's breath caught in her throat as she spun, trying to catch any glimmer of Tyler's familiar silhouette. A rustle echoed from the depths of the gas station, something moving, something watching. She broke into a sprint, fueled by pure adrenaline. "Tyler!" she screamed, crashing through the aisles of neglected goods, reaching the back of the station. The shadows shifted again, forming grotesque shapes that seemed to mock her. A faint whimper floated back to her. "Mom?" Her heart stopped. "Tyler!" She pushed through an old door at the rear, praying she wasn't too late. Inside, the darkness thickened. The whispers grew louder, a cacophony of voices that slid under her skin, chilling her to the bone. "Mom, help!" Tyler whimpered again, desperation entwined in his tone. There, in the heart of the gas station, lay the unholy altar, a warped arrangement of missing posters surrounded by a circle of dried flowers and eerie trinkets. Lisa felt the ground shift beneath her as Earl's voice echoed once more, "Welcome to the sacrifice. The question isn't if you will join him, it's what will you pay for your boy." Her blood ran cold, realization dawning between waves of panic. The answer hovered on the edge of her mind, but she couldn't face it, not yet. The door behind her slammed shut, locking her in with her worst fears. How could she protect her son from a curse that seemed to breathe alongside her? In that moment, as the darkness enveloped her, a horrifying thought gripped her. What if the only way to save Tyler was to offer up something of her own? The gas station seemed to shudder around her, the air thickening with anticipation. Lisa swallowed hard, bracing for the choice she might not be able to live with. Had the gas station already claimed their destinies before she even entered? but as Earl's laughter echoed through the growing night, another chilling question loomed. Would she pay the ultimate price to reclaim the light of her son? The walls creaked ominously, the whispers calling her name, and the darkness waited for her answer. Lisa's breaths came in quick, shallow gasps, the air thick as if filled with an unseen weight. The altar loomed before her, an abominable shrine that pulsed with dark energy. Missing posters surrounded her, their faces distorted in hopeless screams that echoed her own silent terror. "Mom! I can't see." Tyler's voice broke through the oppressive darkness, a desperate plea that sent her heart racing anew. She felt the pull of the altar, a magnetic force urging her to step closer, to surrender to its malevolence. "Tyler, I'm here. Hold on," she shouted, her own voice sounding foreign against the dreadful stillness. The shadows clung to her, wrapping around her legs like cold, skeletal fingers. "Please, Mom." Tyler's cries broke into her like shards of glass, each one a dagger that pierced through her resolve. "I'm scared." The laughter of Earl had ebbed, replaced by something far more sinister. A whispering wind swept through the room, carrying with it phantoms of lost souls, their voices weaving a tale of misery that vibrated in her bones. They were trapped, bound to this cursed place, and their sorrow heralded her fate. Desperate, Lisa turned her thoughts inward. The cost Earl had hinted at echoed relentlessly in her mind. What was it that she could offer? What part of herself could she sacrifice to bring her son back? Each question slid through her consciousness, icy and relentless. "Mom." Tyler's voice faltered, increasing her dread. Taking a step toward the altar, Lisa fought against the pull, forcing herself to breathe through the horror. There had to be a way out, a way to defy the unholy bargain Earl had laid bare before her, but the shadows writhed, taunting her, revealing glimpses of horrifying truths. The cost was never light. What she could give in one moment could tear her soul apart in the next. The air shimmered, then the shadows thickened. Lisa staggered back as spectral figures flickered into sight, their eyes hollow, faces frozen in a mix of desperation and madness. They reached out, pleading, their whispers a chilling symphony of past sacrifices. "Join us, become one with the darkness." "No. I want." She screamed, her voice bouncing off the walls, shaking her from the grip of their call. She had to focus. Tyler depended on her. Desperation surged forward, smashing through her doubt. "I'll give anything. Just tell me what to do." A cold laugh broke through the cacophony surrounding her, it curled around her like smoke, and Lisa's skin crawled at the sound. Earl materialized at the edge of the altar, eyes glinting with a twisted delight. "Surrendering is easy, but the choice comes with darkness. It is your choice." His voice dripped with malice, teasing her with the lure of power. "You don't know the weight of what you offer. Tell me." She shouted, tears stinging her eyes, fueled by fear and desperation. "I will do anything for my son." Earl's lips twisted into a sardonic grin, revealing teeth like jagged stones. The air crackled, and suddenly, all sound faded, leaving an eerie silence that made her stomach churn. In that void, Earl's voice echoed again, not within her ears but deep within her mind. "To save him, you must embrace what you fear most, what you hide within. The darkness calls, accept it, and he will be free." Lisa's heart thundered in her chest, hammering against bone and flesh. What fear did she keep locked away? She looked at the altar, seeing the offerings laid bare. Nothing was as simple as she wished. Her soul trembled as threads of doubt tugged at her, wanting her to retreat, to deny what she must confront, but a piercing cry of "Mom" from Tyler reignited her courage. "I will find a way." She screamed, her voice surging with defiance. The shadows hissed, the wind snaked through her hair, coaxing her to surrender, but Lisa clenched her fists, resolute. As she took a step toward the altar, a hidden truth shuddered within her. Questions twisted in her mind like thorns. Would she abandon every piece of light in her life for the love of her son? What darkness lay within her, waiting to be unleashed? With each step, The weight of choices loomed over her, tightening its grip. The room pulsed with energy, a patience that hummed like a live wire, waiting for her decision. Her heart quaked as she whispered, "What if I can't come back?" As the shadows swayed and the altar's morbid glow intensified, a final thought echoed within her: what if the price she had to pay was her very own humanity? Silence fell again, pregnant with tension, as all eyes, human and otherwise, turned towards her. Would she embrace the darkness to save her son, or would that choice cost them both everything? The shadows converged, thick and swirling, tightening their grasp around Lisa. Each flicker of darkness carried the echoes of the souls who had once tread this haunted ground, their whispers a mantra of despair. They pleaded, begged for release, but Lisa's heart beat solely for her son. "Mom!" Tyler's voice trembled, tangled in fear. The desperation was a knife, twisting deep inside her, drawing her closer to the altar. It beckoned, that obelisk of malevolence, pulsing with an energy that felt both foreign and inviting. Lisa could feel the warmth of Tyler's fear buzzing beneath her skin, raw and electric. "Mom, please." The sheer terror in his voice cut through the veil of darkness around her. "Hold on, Tyler," she cried, but her own voice sounded weak, lost among the wailing souls. The altar throbbed as it awaited her decision, the shadows around her shifting and shifting again, a living entity begging for her submission. Lisa drew in a deep breath, a last gasp of determination. "What do you want from me?" she shouted defiantly, daring the altar to respond. A rush of wind carried a voice, cascading through the din of despair. "Sacrifice. Offer the most precious part of you, your fear." "Fear?" It seemed absurd. "You want my fear?" Lisa shook her head, a laugh bubbling up against the tide of dread. "I'll never give that to you." But the swarming shadows shifted, and for a moment, her heart dropped. Could she truly fight against this force? As the voices of the lost became a cacophony, an idea like a serpent coiled in her mind. What if embracing her fear was not defeat, but the key to saving Tyler? Around her, the darkness shimmered, and visions danced within. A flicker of her past revealed lost moments, her childhood insecurities, fears of abandonment, the devastating grief of her sister's death. Each recollection pulled at her, exposing frailties she had tightly locked away. "Embrace me, be free," the voices beckoned, swirling like smoke, filling her lungs, suffocating reason. "No!" she screamed, shaking her head violently. Sweat dripped into her eyes, blurring the malevolent visions. "I don't need to be free if it means losing him." Tyler's face appeared in the dancing shadows, his eyes wide with terror, and she felt her grip on hope slipping away. She could only see him so small, so vulnerable, fighting against the dark. "Mom, help me." His plea ignited something deep within her, an ember of strength that pulsed with clarity. "Fine." She spat, desperation transforming into rage. "I will face my fears, but I will not surrender." Earl's laughter erupted, resonating within the void. "Fools like you are destined to walk this path, embrace your shadows." With a sudden surge, Lisa stepped toward the altar, determination breaking the chains of doubt. The air exploded, shimmering like a heatwave, a battle between light and dark igniting in her core. She faced the altar, eyes fixed on the swirling shadows, ready to wrestle with her inner demons. "Show me." Lisa shouted into the storm of shadows. "Let me confront it. Let it come." Light exploded, tearing through the darkness as monstrous shapes emerged, each grotesque figure a distorted reflection of her unacknowledged fears. They lunged for her, claws outstretched, eyes burning with malice. "No!" Her heart raced as she braced herself for the impact, each image chillingly familiar. A grotesque version of herself, abandoned and alone. Her sister, crying, lost in a pit of despair. Gasping for breath, Lisa felt an overwhelming wave of horror crashing over her like freezing water. But anchored by the sound of Tyler's voice, she plunged into that darkness, ready to fight back against everything she had ever feared. The passage split open, echoing with tormented cries. What lay beyond? Would she find strength or succumb to the gnawing dread? Mom! Don't give in. Fight! Tyler's voice pierced through the chaos, a lifeline in the madness. And as the shadows surged forward, Lisa had one final thought: what if the encounter could heal both her and Tyler? Would facing her fears bring salvation, or would it seal their fate? Forever, in that instant, reality twisted and turned. She felt the dark tendrils envelop her, swallowing her whole. How long could she last against her very own darkness? The darkness swallowed her, cold and clammy, wrapping around Lisa like a shroud. She fought to maintain her footing, but the more she resisted, the tighter the shadows clung. The grotesque figures lunging at her felt like tangible extensions of her deepest fears, twisting into shapes that her mind couldn't fully comprehend. Mom! Tyler's voice echoed, a beacon of urgency that sank into the pool of dread. It stirred her, catalyzing a flicker of courage that struggled against the despair consuming her. But with every heartbeat, the shadows coiled tighter, becoming an unbearable weight that urged her to surrender. A blinding flash of light erupted from her heart, illuminating the scene before her. The monsters wavered for a brief moment, then reformed, more grotesque than before. The visage of her sister's face twisted in agony appeared among them. "You didn't save me," it shrieked, piercing her with a sharp blade of guilt. "You turned away." "No!" Lisa shouted, fighting through the tears. "I will not let you take him too." The altar pulsed, a rhythmic throb that mimicked her heartbeat. It called to her, offering a dark temptation, a pact for safety. "All you have to do is give in, to surrender your burdens." Lisa clenched her fists, nails digging into her palms, grounding herself. "You think I'll just let my fear consume me? I won't stand down. His life matters more." The shadows recoiled, regrouping, as if her defiance was a poison to them. A figure lunged at her, a horrifying reflection of what she could become, lost and hopeless, swallowed by her own darkness. But something shifted in her heart, an understanding that resonated deeper than the fear. "Face it!" she screamed, wishing she could open her heart to the heavy weight of sadness, the grief she had locked away. The voices surrounded her, a dark symphony trying to drown out her plea. "Embrace us, join the lost, never." Lisa stomped her foot, channeling her frantic energy into a forceful wave. The shadow creatures twisted, shrieking, momentarily disrupted by her conviction. "Mom, don't give up. I believe in you." Tyler's words sliced through the darkness, stronger than any memory, and suddenly, clarity washed over her. Lisa turned towards the altar, its pulsing energy no longer inviting but malicious and demanding. "Fine. If you need my fear to hold power over me, then I will give you something else. I'll give you my love, my hope, my strength." The altar throbbed violently, shadows convulsing as if her declaration struck a nerve. The beasts screamed, shuddering under the unusual force of her unwavering spirit. In that moment of affirmation, Lisa felt warmth flood through her veins, a bright beacon radiating into the darkness. The shadows faltered, diminishing in size, as she continued to push. "You have no hold over me. I will find my son." But just as the restraints of darkness loosened, a heart-stopping chill settled. Lisa felt a surge of cold dread wash over her. A heavy darkness amassed above her, looming, as if something far worse was awakening. From within the depths, a new figure emerged. It slithered forward, more sinister than the rest, cloaked in an aura of forbidden knowledge. Its voice dripped with malice, slicing through the air like a knife. "So you still fight? You will never escape. You belong to us, and he does too." Lisa's heart dropped. The shadows swirled, and she felt their icy tendrils reach out once more. "Tyler! Hold on," she screamed, sensing the weight of the looming darkness returning, thicker than before, but with the shadows closing in like a vice. Would her newfound strength be enough to save her son? Or had they both just awakened something that would plunge them deeper into despair? The ground trembled beneath Lisa as the malevolent figure advanced, its form darkening the air. The cold seeped into her bones, stealing the warmth radiating from the flicker of hope she had unleashed. Tyler's safety dangled on the brink, and the shadows drew lazy, intoxicating circles around her, beckoning her to surrender to despair. "Why do you resist?" The figure crooned, its voice dripping with mockery. "Your love gives you strength, but it also makes you vulnerable. You are nothing without your fears." Each word coiled around her, tightening as if it were a noose. Lisa's vision blurred as grim memories flooded her mind. Images of her sister, the pain of her loss, swirled like a tempest. She could feel her heart beat in sync with the altar, pumping her strength into the shadows. "Let go, Lisa," it hissed. "Join the others. Embrace the dark. You will find peace in the abyss." She stumbled, breath hitching, but fought against the tide of regret threatening to pull her under. "No." A surge of fury ignited within her again. "I want. Not now, not ever." The shadows convulsed, hissing into grotesque shapes of lost loved ones, faces twisted in agony, each a chilling reminder of abandonment. "You cannot save him if you cannot save yourself," they chanted, a cacophony of anguish that pounded against her mind. "Believe." Tyler's voice warbled from the depths of the encroaching darkness. It was a desperate plea, a flicker of life. The pull of despair almost overwhelmed her, but Lisa pressed her palms against her temples, her fingers trembling with the effort of holding on to her resolve. "Tyler!" she shouted, her voice clear, a war cry against the dark. "I am coming. You are worth every fight." With a roar, she could feel her essence pushing outwards, spilling light into the consuming void. The shadows writhed, shrieking as if stung. The figure faltered, momentarily obscured, its sneer replaced with a grimace of rage, but the darkness fell silent. An oppressive stillness hung around them, pulling tight as expectation filled the air. "What have you done?" The figure rasped, its eyes narrowing as anger burned within the depths. "I've unlocked something you cannot comprehend," Lisa declared, her voice emboldened by newfound strength. "You're nothing but a shadow. You thrive on fear, but I am rising above it." As her declaration washed over the altar, the glimmering light pulsed and lashed out like a whip, dispersing the shadows in chaotic bursts. Lisa felt momentum shift. But from that shimmering light, a fog of darkness slithered back, a shadow more massive than the rest. It grew, gathering power and weight. Terror slinked back into Lisa's awareness. Racing shadows surged like ants scurrying away from a flood. "Foolish woman," the figure hissed, regaining footing. "You may push us back, but we will return. There are rules in this dark realm you have yet to learn." "Rules?" she echoed, confusion and fear intertwining. "What do you mean?" Laughter erupted from the darkness, terrifying and sharp like glass breaking. The shadows danced tauntingly, forming grotesque shapes. "Everything has rules, even darkness. You chose to fight, which makes you our greatest prize." She swallowed hard, panic clawing at her insides. What did it mean? What had she unleashed? "Mom!" Tyler's voice rang out again, breaking through the tumult. His fear crackled like an electric jolt, grounding her. The dark figure loomed larger, its aura heavier than ever, prepared to unleash its wrath. It slithered closer, forcing Lisa to grapple with an overwhelming dread. How much power did it truly hold? "Mom, I'm so scared." Tyler's plea filled the air, sharing the terrified heartbeat that pulsed between them. "Shut your eyes, sweetheart," she cried, her heart hammering in her chest. "I'll find you. Just hold on." Suddenly, she realized she was running out of time, running out of options. Faced with the reality of an impending doom, Lisa took a deep breath. The depths were no longer a realm of just monsters, they held secrets. The knowledge she sought, hidden behind layers of anguish and shadows. Before she could consider her next move, the shadows surged. As they wrapped around her once more, a glimmer of truth pricked at her consciousness. What sinister secrets lay waiting, ready to be revealed if only she dared to brave the darkness one more time? The darkness was consuming her. Each tendril of shadow twisted like fingers, probing, looking for weakness. Lisa felt cold sweat bead on her forehead as she fought to maintain her grip on reality. The figure loomed closer, its voice whispering promises that dripped with malice. Submit to the darkness, Lisa. Give in to despair. It will be easier no. She shouted, but her voice wavered. How could she stand against this? Tyler's voice echoed in her ears, pulling her back from the brink. Believe Mom. Help me. She shut her eyes. Memories of Tyler danced behind her eyelids, his laughter, the way his smile warmed even the darkest moments. I will not abandon you. She screamed, fueled by the fear of losing him forever. The shadows recoiled momentarily, hissing like steam escaping a kettle. For a heartbeat, victory felt tangible. But the evanescent light she had summoned faltered, a small candle against the tempest of darkness. The shadow figure chuckled with chilling delight. Is that all you have? A flicker? It taunted. Its form balled into a whirlpool of tendrils, threatening to drown her in a sea of despair. You cling to false hope, but hope is the sweetest poison. Do you want to witness your son's demise? A bolt of ice shot through her. Each word was a dagger to her heart. But as panic rose, so did another surge of strength within her. You want me to give up? She spat out defiantly. You want me to fall into the abyss? She opened herself to that primal flame of anger and determination. With sheer will, she struck at the shadows, sending fragments spiraling hurtling away from her. The chaos around her felt symphonic, the distant echoes of Tyler's cries threading a path to clarity. You will regret this. The figure roared as Lisa began to harness the energy from her memories, flooding the dark realm with radiant bursts of light. The cold weight of dread began to retreat, pulling back to the edges like a battered wave, but as the shadows receded, they revealed a new threat. Dark shapes scattered across the ground, rising like ghosts of the damned, the spectral forms of those who had succumbed to despair, faces twisted in torment. Join us. They wailed, their eyes hollow, pleading for her to recognize their suffering. Join us, and be free. She gasped, the sheer weight of their anguish bearing down on her. No. Lisa shouted as she staggered back, torn between fear and empathy. I won't let this happen to Tyler. I can't join you. The figure sneered, then you will suffer. The rules state your greatest strength shall be your greatest weakness. It gestured, and the haunting figures surged closer, reaching for her, trying to envelop her in their pain. Lisa fought against the tide, but she could feel the walls of her resolve beginning to crack. Tyler! She cried, as the dark clamored to pull her under. Tendrils of despair brushed against her skin, suffocating. You will not take me. I will find him. She stood firm, digging deep within herself, calling forth the memories of the daylight, the warmth of the sun. With a wild roar, she thrust her hands forward, unleashing a brilliant wave that shimmered, pushing back the sorrow-laden forms. For a moment, clarity struck. She could hear Tyler's voice clearer now, drifting through the chaos. Mom! Don't give up. But then, a piercing sound echoed, a shriek of anguish, a promise of retribution. The shadows twisted violently, forming a monstrous visage above her, eyes burning like molten coals. It hissed, you think you've saved him. You have no idea what you've awakened. The ground trembled again, a quaking rumble that sent adrenaline coursing through her veins. Was this just the beginning? What were these rules that twisted the nature of fear? With every ounce of her being, she prepared for the fight ahead. I won't back down. The figure gathered itself, dark energy swirling ominously. Then welcome to the game, Lisa. You will wish you were never born. The shadows expanded, claiming the space around her as she braced for the unimaginable. The air grew thick, suffocating. Desperate now, Lisa looked deep into the encroaching gloom, ready to uncover the truth to save her son or face the unspeakable, but as the figure lunged, another truth loomed. What if the shadows were only a reflection of her own fears? What if the darkest parts of her were the only keys to freeing Tyler? As dread coiled around her heart, she faced the truth that could either strengthen or destroy her. "I will find you, Tyler," she vowed again, even as the darkness threatened to pull her back into its depths. The darkness was thick, molding itself into some grotesque version of reality, engulfing Lisa in swirling chaos. With her heartbeat pounding in her ears, she searched for Tyler amidst the void. The heavy air pulsed with anxious energy, laden with unspoken threats. "Come, Lisa," the sinister voice curled around her like smoke. "Embrace the truth, embrace your fear. Only then will you see what you truly are." What did it mean? Was this some twisted game, or the shadows feeding on her doubts? She was losing her grip again. Thunderous whispers crawled around her, echoing fragmented thoughts and doubts. She concentrated, battling against a rising tide of memories that threatened to drown her. "Focus on Tyler," she whispered to herself, a mantra of survival. Gritting her teeth, she pushed forward, and the memories flickered like faulty neon lights. A laugh, a cry, golden afternoons painting the walls of her mind. Each image fed her resolve, transforming flickering hope into a raging fire, but the monstrous figure loomed, diving deeper into her psyche. "Why do you fight?" it demanded, each word dripping with malicious glee. "What can you do against the truth? The world you raised him in was always a shadow of despair." The energy in her soul ignited. "I built it for him," she cried defiantly. "I will tear down your lies." Suddenly, the shadows swelled, roaring like angry beasts unleashed. They surged towards her, wild and bloody, relentlessly reaching as they pulled the essence of her light into their abyss. Tendrils clawed at her body, trying to pull her into their chaos, into a spiral of darkness where countless souls writhed in torment. "No!" Lisa strained against the pull, the pressure of their despair cutting against her skin like knives. In that moment of overwhelming fear, something cracked deep within her. Maybe the shadows were right. Had she failed to protect Tyler? Had her love become a prison rather than a sanctuary? "Mom! Help me!" The voice returned, stronger, clearer. Tyler's anguish seeped into her vessel like venom, injecting life into her fading will. With a furious roar, Lisa hurled herself forward, summoning all of her rage, regret, and love. The sudden surge erupted from her, cascading waves of luminescent energy that fought back against the onslaught. The shadows hissed, recoiling, twisting wildly away from her newfound strength. "Foolish woman!" The figure screeched, its form shifting rapidly, as if in pain. "It's futile. Do you even understand what you've set in motion? Show me!" she yelled, surging forward, refusing to relent. "Let me see the truth." The darkness rippled and fractured, revealing echoes of her self-fear and shame clawing out from the pit of her heart. Each spectral version of her was morphed into a harbinger of her deepest terrors, pleading with her to give in. "Join us," they hissed. Embrace despair. The anguish threatened to drown her again, but she fought back, refusing to sink. "I want to be like you," she screamed, forcing her memories to the forefront, guiding each step against the approaching tide. "I will find a way," she insisted, each word a defiant stake in the ground, the chaos roaring but not colliding with her spirit. The air around her charged, magnetic and chaotic. Then, without warning, a flash of blinding light erupted, cutting through the fabric of despair. The spectral figures screamed, a cacophony of torment drowned in brilliance. And just like that, silence flooded the space. Shadows receded, retreating like frightened children, a breath of calm that hung over her like morning dew. But clarity was short-lived. The ground beneath her trembled. Lisa stumbled, grasping for balance as a rumble surged beneath her feet. This calm felt all too deceptive. "You think you have won?" The voice bellowed, sharper now, its echo carrying an undertow of dread. "The game has just begun. Each choice you make will resonate beyond the shadows into your twisted reality." The light flickered, threatening to fade, and with it, the remnants of her strength. As darkness began swallowing the light yet again, a deeper shadow began to form. It wasn't just the twisted grotesque of despair anymore, something else lurked within. "Tyler!" She shouted, a prayer, a desperate vow. But in that solemn moment, a thought struck her frozen heart. What if the whispers held truth? What if every choice led her deeper into a game she didn't even understand? The shadows twisted, gathering strength for one final assault. A deep concern festered in her chest. What was waiting for her on the other side of the veil? What monsters lay in wait when the darkness claimed her once more? Her voice tore through the growing quiet. "I will save you, Tyler. I'm coming." But the question loomed, would it be at the cost of her soul? Before her resolve could settle into strength, the ground beneath began to fissure, revealing a yawning abyss that stretched infinitely downward. All that lay within whispered her fears back to her, and as the darkness slithered toward her once again, Lisa realized that one final truth awaited at the bottom. Would she dare to fall? The darkness clawed at her heart, each whispered doubt reverberating in her mind. Lisa felt the ground tremble beneath her, the shadowy abyss yawning wider as if it hungered for her to step into that endless void. Panic tightened its grip on her throat. "Tyler needs me," she gasped, battling her rising terror. But the shadows were relentless, swirling faster, their whispers twisted and mocking. "You're too late, Lisa. He's already lost." Gripped by a primal, instinctive fear, Lisa braced herself against the invisible force pulling her closer to the edge. She dug her heels into the ground, but the earth felt slick, slicker than oil, drawing her in like quicksand. She could see her memories slipping away, the warmth of her son's laughter fading into the cold nothingness. "No!" She screamed, forcing the sound into the darkness, her voice a sliver of defiance against the suffocating despair. "I will not lose him." In a burst of fury, she lunged forward, compelled by an instinct deeper than thought. She mustered every ounce of strength, every shred of hope. Light blazed from her heart, illuminating the crevices of despair surrounding her, and for a fleeting moment, she thought she could touch the edges of the abyss and pull Tyler back. But a deep growl disrupted her thoughts, and shadows converged like dark waves crashing against her light. "You think you can push back the dark?" The voice hissed, twisting in her gut like a tainted blade. "You have no idea what lies beyond or what you will unleash." Lisa's resolve trembled. Could she truly retrieve her son? Or was she dancing with the very force that threatened to unravel everything? The notion was like poison, seeping into her veins. The darkness pressed closer, wrapping around her, stroking her skin with icy fingers, tempting her to give in. "Tyler!" she cried, uncertainty gnawing at her insides. But then came a flicker, small yet insistent, the spark from memory, the first-hand experience of nurturing her boy. How she held him tight, how she taught him to ride a bike, smiled through tears as he found his first taste of independence. Those moments ignited another wave, stronger than before, forcing the shadows to huddle backward, but there was something else nestled within that flicker. A recollection wrapped in guilt, a moment when she had dismissively turned him away, responding to his innocent curiosity with frustration. "Not now, Tyler." The words echoed, charging the darkness with fresh energy. The shadows howled, rising like smoke, their tendrils wrapping tighter. "Feel the weight of your failures." They screeched, each wail a reminder of moments lost. Lisa trembled, heart racing, drowning in remorse. Would she let her mistakes define her? She was stronger than that, wasn't she? The thought surged through her chest. "I'm not giving up," she yelled, voice hoarse, but the determination behind it solid like stone. But just as she felt her resolve sharpen, the cavern beneath her feet roared alive, releasing a blinding light that dared to reach out. Was it a portal to salvation or a trap laying in wait? She edged closer, leaning over the gaping maw as the distance curled back, revealing flashes of Tyler lost, wandering. "Mom!" he cried, his voice cracking, echoing the terrified essence of hope that ignited a fire within her chest. "Tyler!" she shouted, leaning further over the edge, feeling the magnetic pull of the abyss urging her to dive in, and then oh, the terror. With an explosive crack, the ground erupted beneath her, sending chunks of earth spiraling into the dark nothingness below. With one last heartbeat, Lisa knew, she couldn't turn back now. "Mom!" Tyler's voice echoed again, tethering her. Daring to lean deeper, she felt the cold wind from the abyss whispering sweetly. Who was she becoming? "Help me," the shadows called, adopting Tyler's voice, sickeningly sweet and false. "Join us." The ground quaked as she hung precariously over the edge, and in that moment of truth, something else crashed into her mind like glass breaking, the horrifying realization that maybe, just maybe, she was being trapped in a game of her own making. With one final heartbeat, she let go. But what awaited at the bottom? Was it merely darkness or something more insidious? The truth of her reality waited. Would she ever come back? The darkness enveloped Lisa, wrapping around her like a shroud as she descended into the abyss. She had released her grip on hope, willing to face whatever lay beneath. A terrifying anticipation gripped her soul, all of the fears she'd faced, the regrets she'd buried, crowded her mind. Would she become what she feared most? But as the darkness closed in, there was one truth that shone through: her love for Tyler. In the depths of despair, she felt him, a tether of warmth and light igniting her resolve. "I will not let you take him," she whispered fiercely, her voice cutting through the cold, echoing against the walls of the abyss. Suddenly, the shadows convulsed, grinding to a halt around her. A silhouette formed, rising like smoke swirling from embers. The figure that emerged was a distorted version of Earl, smirking, his eyes pools of black ink. "You've made it this far, Lisa. Welcome to the game of darkness," he hissed, a wicked grin spreading across his features. "What game? Where is my son?" Lisa demanded, fear shifting into righteous anger. Earl tilted his head, provocatively. "The truth lies here within the shadows, your own shadows. Each fear you've avoided is a piece of the key. You wish to save him? Embrace the truth and you might find a way." She felt the weight of his words, pressing against her like a heavy blanket threatening to suffocate. She couldn't afford to ruminate much longer. "You think I'll surrender to this charade?" Lisa growled, a newfound defiance surging through her veins. "You made a mistake underestimating the lengths I will go for my son." The shadows around her fluttered, recoiling as if threatened. "You know not the cost of such demands," Earl mocked, his voice smooth as silk, yet darkening with every syllable. "Desire leads to sacrifice." "Sacrifice?" she echoed. The memory of every person haunted by this place swamped her mind. She thought of Tyler, lost within the cursed walls of this gas station. Every decision weighed heavy on her heart, her choices intertwined with the fates of those who had vanished. Then it struck her: the altar, the haunted offerings. Earl wasn't just playing games. The sacrifices shaped a truth she needed to face. They were lost stories, wrapped around her, waiting for her to acknowledge their pain. "I will not be terrified," Lisa proclaimed. "These shadows won't claim my heart." Rushing forward, she gathered the courage that flickered in the darkness. As she approached, she closed her eyes, accepting the pain she had suppressed for too long, the regret of her sister, her failures, moments of love unspent. "I embrace my fears," she breathed, "but you do not own my heart." Suddenly, the shadows swelled, and screams filled the air, ghostly figures crying out as their forms shifted and morphed around her. She felt their anguish seep into her flesh, raw and potent. "You're not alone," she shouted, her voice loud and unyielding against the rising tide of despair. "You're with me. I choose not to ignore your cries. The darkness quaked, letting out a feral shriek, something within it cracked. Earl's twisted figure trembled, faltering as Lisa's fierce light exploded within her chest, cascading in sharp beams through the shadows. They shrieked in fury and fear. No! Earl roared, his form convulsing, becoming one with the chaos. You will regret this. You cannot take the light into the shadows and remain unscathed. I don't need to remain unscathed. She hurled her emotions at him, her love for Tyler, her grief, all blending into a burst of brilliance that shattered the chains of despair. I will face the truth with all of its scars. A blast of light erupted from the very core of her being, enveloping the figures surrounding her, imbuing them with hope. She could see Tyler's face taking shape with clarity, the warmth of his essence rising above the dark, shining like the sun-breaking dawn. Mom! He cried, the sound resonating in her heart. Help me! I'm here, Tyler! She screamed, breaking through the cacophony around her. With renewed ferocity, she surged toward her son's cries, light surging alongside her. Looming shadows twisted and weakened, shrieking in defeat. Earl, now diminished, struggled to withstand her light, the dark field around him withered. You have won a moment, but this is not over. He screamed, the darkness swirling violently. Let him go. Lisa commanded. She stepped forward, channeling all her strength into a shimmering wave of love. The shadows screeched as the light swallowed them whole, scattering dark remnants like ashes in the wind. For one brief moment, there was peace. Tyler! She gasped, grasping him in a warm embrace just as the abyss trembled and began collapsing. As the light pulsed brightly, they found themselves back in the gas station, the sun setting on the horizon beyond the broken windows. Earl's laughter echoed, far reduced yet still present. This isn't the end, he taunted, fading as shadows struggled to re-emerge. But Lisa stood, her frame steady, filled with the light of triumph. No, it's a new beginning, she declared, gripping Tyler's hand tighter. Together, they stepped away from the remnants of a cursed place, leaving the darkness behind. As they walked into the glow of dusk, the warmth melted away the specters of despair, revitalizing hope. The gas station cracked open, revealing the world outside, a reminder that they were alive, together, and free. Let us go home, Lisa said, taking a deep breath of the fresh air, filled with possibility. The journey had changed her in ways she'd yet to understand, but she'd face it all with Tyler by her side. Now they could embrace the future together, unfettered by chains of fear. As the sun dipped beneath the horizon, shadows danced briefly, then vanished, leaving only echoes. And through it all, one truth remained: in facing her darkest fears, Lisa had forged a bond of immeasurable strength and love. So remember, you need to subscribe now to never miss a moment of these exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm, and show your support for the journey. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this incredible ending. And please, instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see the power of hope and love. Don't wait even one more second to share the light.